Vaheguru Ji Ka Khalsa, Vaheguru Ji Ki Fateh. We have that concept that we understand to be of trusting into the divine. And trusting the divine means to trust that whatever needs to happen for us will happen. And not do we say push the river. We can never push the river. If we try to push against the river, then we just have that backlog. But if we learn to flow with the river, then we get to the destination that we need to be at. So the concept then of divine, understanding the divine and trusting into the divine. But what does that mean to trust the divine? Trusting the divine itself means that I trust within myself, that I don't have to live in the fear and the worry, that who created this creation can also take care of me. But we deny that truth within ourselves. We say, oh, that the universe, that God is that light, pervades everywhere, is everywhere, can be seen and unseen, is there. But we don't believe it to be true. We deny it within ourselves. So we just go on trying to think that we can just run our life. But the reality is that we don't really run our life. We have our comings and goings. We do those things that we do. But when we connect to the divine energy within us and trust in that divine energy, my experience is at that point then I can relax. And relax to understand that I shall be looked after, I shall be taken care of, whatever I need shall be brought to me. That those portals, those doors shall open when I need them to open and when it's meant to happen for me. As soon as I came to that realization, then I learned how to relax, to take it easy. That means I was able to then be able to process through my life without fear. To understand, yes, I have actions, I have transactions, sometimes I fall in the pit, sometimes I gain, we have a plus, we have a minus, is very true. But that ultimately, my trust in the divine has always come through. And sometimes even when I think, oh no, it's never going to happen, this isn't happen, I can never, but then I found that through patience and through trust, all that I needed was given. So that trust has to come from within one's own self. We say, oh, I trust God, or I trust the divine, or I trust Guru, I trust the will of God. And we say those words. But reality is, we have to feel within inside of ourselves that we can hold that trust. Those four pillars: to know ourselves, trust ourselves, love ourselves, and to be ourselves. So that inside there can be that rest, that peacefulness of self. To be able to then experience that flow of life. We have our flow of life that we flow into, our day-to-day activities, all those things that we do, our meditative mind, our meditative consciousness. But there's also the flow of the universe. And the alignment is when our flow unifies and balances with the flow of the universe. So that whatever is meant to happen shall be. Because we can't control that. 20% we can have control over. The 80%, other 80% is the will of the God. Is the will of the infinite. But we wanted to try to control that 100% or 90% or 70%, it doesn't work. So the key of life is to remember that who created us is watching us, is looking after us, is granting to us whatever that is that we need, is opening those doors when those doors are meant to open. And if we miss a door, it opens again for us. And then we can have that smoother flow, my experience, to have that smoother flow of life. And to allow that will to work on my behalf. So that I don't have to chase and run and hassle and bustle to try to get something. If we chase after things, I was saying we push the river, then we only just have those rapids. But if we flow along as the river flows, then we'll always reach that destination that we want. That's how a spiritual path works. Spiritual path is that it's already existent for you. I don't need to go out and find what is my spiritual path. The path is already there. How we flow into that path and what we meet on that path and who we connect with on that path and what teachings we follow on that path and where that path leads, that's the will of the Creator. Our consciousness is to allow that will to happen so as we go along that pathway, we're able to experience the richness of life and the joy of life and the presence of life. We're born here, we're here for a particular period of time. At some time we're going to leave. But what is it that we accomplish in that time? What is it that we feel during that space of time that we're here? Because we are meant to be creative, to use our creative consciousness. And when we use our creative consciousness with our meditative mind, then that flow becomes much easier. Easier to understand what are those twists and turns, what are those sharp edges, those sharp corners. What is the easy flow, what is when we just flow and we feel that it's just very harmonized within us. But there's those times when we reach those rocky roads and we do hit some of those rapids. It's very true. How we navigate through that pattern of life is the key to joy. Joy and happiness comes through our commitment to understand that as we pass through those different turns of life, we do it with a conscious awareness of that who created us is looking after us, is taking care of us, and guiding us to wherever it is that we need to be. That's a creative process. Sometimes you wonder why some people are writers, why some people they're dancers, why some they're creative in business, why some people are creative in their spiritual life. Whatever that creation is, you can be an artist, a teacher, you can be doing commerce, whatever it is that you've been drawn to. To apply your creativity that gives you a working understanding of where you are in any point of time of your life as you watch this life pass through. So when it's done with trust, when it's done with the understanding that that who created us, that divine energy, is always with us, never separated from us. That's the power when we meditate, when we do Nam Simran, when we vibrate the Nam, when we sit in the stillness of the self, to allow our energy to balance with the energy of the universe. And that's the power of a meditative mind. That's the power of Nam Simran. That's the power when we do Pat, when we do our Bani, when we're sitting in the stillness, if you're doing a practice that you enjoy to do, reading scripture, whatever that is that you enjoy, that gives you that balance and awareness of your connectedness to your own infinity. What is God in reality? God in reality is your infinity. Every human being has an infinite self, and that infinite self is what connects into the universal self. And the universal self is governed by the entire cosmos. And our connection from the finite self to the infinite self is the power of the meditative mind, is the power of the consciousness of the repetition of the japa, 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 repeat, repeat, repeat. The vibration of the Nam that goes deep within us to give us that identity of self with our infinite self. And through the infinite self, we experience the creative self. That is where creation exists. That's where all our creativity comes from. Sometimes we get ideas in our mind, we get intuitions in our mind, we get an idea, I want to write a book, we get an idea, I want to do this, we have an idea, I want to create something, I want to grow my farm. Many, many different ideas and thoughts come. But those ideas and thoughts come from the infinite self, from your experience of your infinity. And then those ideas come, that's the idea, this is the idea. And as we tune this intuitive mind of ours, as we meditate, as we do Simran, as we develop that, then that intuitive creativity becomes much stronger. And that creative intuitivity comes from that who created. That is the divine creation that gave each of us as beings living in this physical body, the finite form, to experience the infinite form. If we don't have that experience of the infinite form of ourselves, then we lose a lot of our capacity of life. We restrict ourselves in this life. So we're meant to enjoy it, to expand ourselves, to trust in that who created this creation, to feel embraced by that who created this creation, and to allow that divine energy to flow through us, to guide us on the path of life, so that we can build that trust within ourselves. And the key of it is to trust ourselves. We have to see within our own selves to trust that. And to do that, we have to physically relax, we have to mentally relax, we have to trust in our spiritual journey and walk the path of our heart, our righteousness. That is what is called Dharma. Dharma means to walk the path of your truth, of your righteousness. And we take different dharmic paths. There's Sikh Dharma, there's other dharmas that we walk upon in order to gain that experience of that connection of this life so that we can be happy, free, prosperous, creative, giving, share what we have, help others, do our seva, do our service, help humanity, and help humanity grow through a very difficult time. Because we are facing a very difficult time in this world today. Because in this darker age, in this Kali Yuga, in this dark age that is happening, all the inconsistency is coming to the surface. All the inconsistency and all the lies are coming to the surface. And globally, changes have to happen. So we're seeing that this last-ditch effort by some of these so-called leaders to try to put more control, to corrupt the system even more, to create more chaos, more damage, is only going to backfire. Because the consciousness of humanity will not allow that to happen, and the age is changing, and the times are changing. But we knew that all of this had to come to the surface to give us that experience and to understand what is happening. But we have to stand for the righteousness, the truth within ourselves. We have to share that righteousness and truth to others and build a better world that exists for each of us, not to be against each of us. And that shall be, that shall be. There are teachings on this planet which exist that teach the fundamental truth of the equality of all people. Ekonka, there's one creator who created all creation. And those truths of those teachings that teach the oneness of humanity shall become the leading light for all humanity and shall help to bring this world to peace. And that is emerging, shall continue to emerge, shall get even stronger and stronger. The foundation has already been set over these past 400 or 500 years, has been set, and shall happen. So that our children and their children and the next generations to follow shall inherit a world of peace, prosperity, abundance, tolerance, and acceptance for every person, regardless of caste, of color, of creed, of gender, of faith, of belief, of preference, of religion. Everyone is created and equal, and everyone is to be seen and to be honored as sacred, and through that sacredness be protected, and human rights and the rights of freedom shall flourish and shall bloom. That is what is the age coming and shall be here. But we're in the midst right now, but everything is coming so clear. We have to find what is our pathway now to help educate, share, and bring about this transition to create a better world, a peaceful world, and a world that shall be prosperous for everyone, abundant for everyone, and accept everyone. Vaheguru Ji Ka Khalsa, Vaheguru Ji Ki Fateh. Please join Bhai harinamsinghkhalsa every Sunday morning from 6 a.m. to 8 a.m. Pacific Time for our Gurbani Vichar program in English on Sherry Punjab Radio AM 600, which can be live streamed in your time zone at am600.ca.